Hello everyone, this is Bob and Threadbare, and welcome back to BioShock Infinite. Say farewell to the music, I guess.
Anna.
No, it's me, Elizabeth. Are you all right?
Where am I?
Back in the land of the living. Here, let me.
I'll be fine.
You almost drowned. You need to...
I said I'm fine. Just give me a minute.
Do you hear that? It's music.
Go on. I just need to...
Okay, I won't be long. I won't be long, Mr. DeWitt.
Maybe we swap dimensions to one where Booker didn't fall from quite so lethal a height. Also, fun fact, but CPR, the modern version of CPR, would not be invented until the 1950s.
Where is she?
Now, the idea of chest compressions was around since at least 1908, but it wouldn't be considered effective until, again, the 1950s. Hey there, kids. Just gonna steal your money here, don't mind me. You know, the first time I played this, I expected that we had fallen all the way down to, you know, Earth.
Hey! I'm looking for a young girl. Wearing a white blouse, brown hair, blue eyes.
Guess he's not interested.
You see a young girl, blue skirt? No?
No. But I'm without an escort if you're looking to pass the time.
Hey, you see a young girl?
Is this some kind of sales pitch? Because I'm not interested.
Well, these people are entirely unhelpful. Oh. Yeah. Somebody left their booze underneath one of those rowboats. Although I gotta wonder how safe it could be.
Hey, I'm looking for a young girl.
Who isn't, brother?
Gotta wonder how safe using those rowboats could be.
You fellas seen a girl around here? Blue skirt, dark hair?
Look at this one.
Why don't you just sleep it off, chum?
But with the whole fact that the water just sort of ends after 100 feet or so. It's kind of crazy that there's water here at all.
The prophet may know how his own biography is going to end, but I can scarcely fathom how I'm going to start it. I mean, other than the kid stuff you get at the Hall of Heroes, anything prior to his baptism was, and here I quote, hang on, left on the riverside. They'll call me a plagiarist, but I'm going to spend the first 30 pages regurgitating scripture.
Airship. That could be our ticket out of here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the last one we were on kind of blew up. Which was, you know, harder than you might think, since it was full of helium. Whoa. Well, you gotta expect gale force winds at this height. Yeah, that's not altogether that much water, although... You know, when they're passing over land, I can't imagine that's very fun to be underneath. I mean, I guess they are kind of hiding above rain clouds, so it's not that suspicious, but still. Just, you know, sudden downpour of water on your head. And I'm not sure if I managed to get...
The whole thing's rigged. All I want is fair pay for an honest day's work.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I managed to get Elizabeth to say it, but essentially this is all powered by rainwater cisterns. It's all just sort of wastefully pumped out off the side of the building.
Everything's changing.
People don't know their place anymore.
Tell me about it. An Oriental stopped me on the street and asked me for the time. Just like that.
There should be a law.
I think there is.
I wouldn't be surprised. If there's one thing that all Americans hated back in the day, it's Chinamen.
Maybe you and I should go for a walk along the shore.
I'm not going on any walk with you. Your reputation is well established.
Gotta love the costumes they came up with back in the day when showing any skin was considered indecent, or else just something that poor people did.
Look at him, ladies. It's a crime someone doesn't get him a nice set of trunks.
Not sure I would call them trunks.
Well, he's your brother.
Look at him. He's got the brains of a child.
You know, I know a fella who can, shall we say, take care of this.
Wilma!
Well, it's that or the shame on your family. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't, I suppose.
Ah, the state of mental health in the early 20th century. We'll be getting around to that eventually, too. Don't you worry.
All right now. You're strong, strong. Pretend you're Hercules. Right, that's great. All right, miss. Now put your hand a bit higher. No panhandling, fellow. Didn't you see the signs?
I interrupted him.
Marry you?
I've heard that before.
You have to believe me. I don't love her anymore.
It amazes me how many men I've met haven't the slightest idea who they really are.
Right, damn fools. Should let them drown themselves. Thin out the herd.
John, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2. Touch Joe. 2, up. Yes.
Hey kid, gonna drink your soda? Oh,
Tell my wife is scared,
medicine balls.
but I don't know how to comfort her.
Comstock will take care of the Vox. If he says he has a plan, then he has a plan. When has he ever let us down before?
Kind of amazed how calm everybody is, considering their Statue of Liberty just got its head lopped off.
That's what the Vox Populi do. Stir up the paddies and the Negroes.
First it's labor unrest, then they're coming for you in your bed.
Comstock should stomp them out. All of them cockroaches.
Lovely sentiment there, fellow. You know, I believe surfboards are this old, but nobody pulled any tricks on them back in the day. That came later.
Mother doesn't get a say.
With you, Mother always gets a say.
I'm my own man.
They don't believe him. You know, they sure like the Irish music for not liking the Irish. Ah, cultural appropriation.
Hey, miss. Miss. Could you just...
This is just gonna keep going on like this, isn't it?
Hey, miss. Miss Elizabeth.
Hello! Oh, this is wonderful! Oh, come dance with me, Mr. Dwight.
I don't dance. Come on, let's go.
Why? What could be better than this?
How about Paris?
Paris? I don't understand. How could we get there?
That's where that airship's going, but if you want to stay and dance, we can...
No, let's go! Come on, let's go! Come on, let's go right now! I'm out. It's hard to believe, but it's true, isn't it? Oh, can you smell that? I've never smelled anything like that before, have you?
Beaches I know don't smell much like that.
Living in New York. That'll happen.
Mr. DeWitt, Comstock. I've read about him. They say he can see the future.
Give a man a little power, he falls in all kinds of love with himself.
I don't like his look.
Do you dislike the look of the prophet or his gaze?
Can we leave now?
I just think the prophet doesn't like me when he's glaring.
Aren't we the well-to-do types?
I think you just commented on how much money I've got. Well, I'm not really well-to-do. Still got a ways to go before I can buy one of those vigor upgrades.
Huh. That fall into the water did you no favors. I'll keep an eye out for something that might ease your pain.
No need. Already ate my way back to health. Sure are a lot of souvenirs around here. But then this is a souvenir shop, so that's kind of a stupid thing to say. I think maybe the proprietor's daughter spends her lunches up there. Oh, hang on. Guys just randomly eat everything. Oh no, anarchists loose. Feel bad just taking those caramels. And the guy's right there.
Mr. DeWitt, here.
Bird.
Or the cage.
Or perhaps the bird.
Nothing beats the cage.
He's to it. How do you... Never mind.
Look at these, they're amazing. Which one do you like more, this one or this? The bird is beautiful and the cage is somber, but there's really something special about it. I just can't decide.
You know, it's funny, because you got the usual symbols here of freedom and security, but there's a second layer of symbolism.
Well?
Where the bird is the captor and the cage, well, that also means something else. Still...
The one on the right.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
I love it.
Surprising. I expected the cage.
If you're going to be a sore loser, then I shan't do this again.
Now that's just sophistry.
Oh my God!
My God.
It has to be. Who else
Look.
would do such a thing?
Are you alright?
It was my home.
We should get out of here.
Let's go.
Huh. A cloud layer. I guess that explains why everybody was still having a grand old time.
How could this happen? Why didn't the prophet foresee this?
Who knows what the prophet sees? He tells us what he deems wise. It's okay. It's okay.
Man, that's a crappy texture. Yeah. Really did a number on that statue.
Where was the songbird when this happened?
Causing it.
He'll set this right. He's the sword of vengeance.
Okay, wait. Did they just forget that Booker, along with a whole bunch of debris, fell into Battleship Bay here? It seems like kind of an oversight. I guess that's it. See what's going on in the arcade here.
Make sure you have a piece of photographic identification ready for presentation.
Put those arms up now. Fingers apart. Legs apart. Stand still. Now hold steady.
I ain't getting through there.
I have just the thing. Come on.
Yeah. I guess there is some disruption going on here.
Come on.
This one.
I don't see the point of stopping all of us. Just
Look at this one.
man.
He's suspicious, if you ask me.
My God, what's
All
happening?
right. Quiet
They
down there,
suggest
Pete.
fumigate things
Let's
and
go
then be
home
done
and
with
dry
it.
yourself out.
What is happening?
Damn thing's locked. What are you doing?
You're a roguish type. What does it look like? Done.
Where did you learn to pick locks?
Trapped in a tower with nothing but books and spare time. You would be surprised what I know how to do.
Interesting that they feel the need to remind the help of how to remain in its place.
I must take any task with more than the slightest complexity, or they simply... Oh, hello, sir. Don't you pay me no never mind? Just some foolishness, you know. Just monkey shines.
You may note that he dropped into the accent there.
Hey, Mr. DeWitt. I found these silver needles. There's a vending device over there. There might be something to bring you back to health.
It's probably a good idea.
Unnecessary, but still a good idea. Too bad I can't possess that thing. But you might notice that firearms are still disabled.
Is your housekeeper acting suspicious? Try asking the girl a few key questions. Such as...
Look at this!
Don't you think those Vox Populi folk have a valid complaint against the Prophet? And I'm sure some of your friends have attended meetings. I'd sure like to see what they're all about. Now, back to the music.
No.
When I first seen Columbia, that sky was the brightest, bluest sky that ever was. Seemed like heaven. Then your eyes adjusted to the light, and you saw that sea of white faces looking hard back at you.
Hey, mister. We'd like to help you.
Do I know you?
Back at the lottery, without you, we wouldn't have gotten away.
Daisy always said somebody like you would come along.
Well, that's nice. Good to see we had a bit of an impact. Electricity's still better. So much for keeping this place clean. A flask of unknown booze.
This ain't no place for you, sir. You best be on your way, or there's gonna be trouble for us both.
Interesting.
Please, please. They find you here. Blame's gonna fall on me.
But just for reference, if we had picked the other option, then a representative of Fink would be here with that piece of clothing. Like right about here.
Kind sir, would you happen to have the time?
Hey, Flawless Flintlock. It's the newest one in the series. I read it was delayed 3 times.
Oh, let's have a look at it then.
Are you a duke? Or a dimwit? Duke cleans his father's rifle every Sunday without being asked. Dimwit shoots mice every afternoon and puts the old man's rifle back dirty. Remember, boys and girls, don't be a dimwit.
The paint's kind of cracking for being entirely new.
Are you a duke? Or a dimwit? When Duke sees a suspicious-looking character, he reports him to his authorities straight away. When Dimwit sees a suspicious-looking character, he ignores him and focuses on his new scooter. Remember, boys and girls, don't be a dimwit.
I believe there's a third cabinet around here somewhere. Oh, here we go.
Are you a duke? Or a dimwit? When Duke hears the Colombian anthem, he stands at attention and sings along proud and clear. When Dimwit hears the Colombian anthem,
Lots of dropped coins around here.
Oh, what's that?
There you go, little miss. Cotton candy here. It's your cotton candy.
You guys got anything interesting to say? No? And here's kids trying desperately to stave off the boredom.
Sorry, sir, but it'd be my pleasure to offer you a refreshment.
I wonder what these cabinets run off of. They don't look hooked up to anything. Could be a battery, but I think that maintenance guy was winding a spring.
I swear, the service
Here's
gets
some
worse
cash.
here every time we come back.
Take this.
Thanks.
Come and take a photograph with the father of our country. He chopped down the cherry tree. He crossed the Delaware. On bended knee, he accepted the sword from the Angel Columbia. Come on, folks. Show your allegiance to flag and to the nation.
To the sky Comstock bent his knee and saw with holy prophecy an Eden floating in the mist, by man forsworn, by heaven kissed.
It's kind of a creepy automaton.
Annabelle?
Excuse me?
Annabelle, it's me, Esther.
Oh, no, I'm not Annabelle.
Are you sure?
My name is Elizabeth. Do I know you?
Elizabeth? Isn't that a lovely name?
That was odd.
Also looks like the way forward, so let's just check out the other bathrooms here first.
Why is one bathroom for colors and the other for whites?
It just is.
Seems like an unnecessary complication. I hope you don't intend for me to follow you in there.
As a boy, I had a dog named Bill. Like all dogs, Bill was a loyal friend.
Are you all right in there?
Everything's fine.
Listening to this guy, come on.
Loyal. If we had struck him, Bill would have been loyal. Only when the colored man can make that claim will he take his place in society.
Uh-huh.
Trying to get us both arrested?
Just stealing money from purses left behind in toilets. You know, the usual. Aha! Solving the Irish problem. No, it's actually kind of weird how the hatred for Irish lasted, like, even longer than the hatred for, you know, Poles and Italians. Even though they were all basically coming over at the same time.
It's one thing to find out you're running around planting kisses on all the girls, but little Mary McCarthy and that horrid Aaron O'Malley, if your father found out, it is bad enough he has to employ those potato eaters. Oh, Frederick, you leave me in such a state.
Man, it's really hard to discriminate when there's no actual genetic difference at all, isn't it? I mean, I'm not supporting the practice, I'm just pointing out that discriminating against the South and West Irish, as opposed to the North Irish and the Anglo-Saxons, is even stupider than usual.
Last customer. Park's closing. Park's closing, everyone.
Yeah, these shoes sure could benefit from a shine.
Guess I haven't paid much attention.
Huh. That's a lot of brushes.
Looks like rain.
Better rain than snow.
I suppose that's true.
Hey, you wanna watch out? I just swapped that.
A lot of white guys all of a sudden doing the menial jobs.
Have you got sauerkraut?
Sauerkraut? I guess so.
I'll take, one, please. How much?
1 silver eagle.
All right.
Man, these guys really suck at this. Oh, nice stuff. Glad I came down here. And still scrimping and saving everything I can. Suddenly I'm the center of attention. Yeah, the upcoming test here doesn't really seem like it's about whether or not you can figure out there's something going on.
Excuse me.
Seems like it's about whether or not you give them the chance. And in this case...
Hey.
For this playthrough, I mean.
He's with her.
Hey.
Sure. We can get both apples with a single.
Excuse me. Hey, buddy. Hello? 2 tickets for passage to the First Lady airship.
Yeah, just a minute, friend. Yeah, I have it. How do you, want to proceed?
In a bit of a rush, pal.
Hey, mister, you're gonna get mustard all over your nice suit.
I got it. I'll ring you back once the matter's in hand.
I don't like this.
Yeah, send in the bird. We're ready to execute.
I don't feel like giving them the chance.
Stay where you are!
Move in!
What are you doing? Get the girl! Get off me! Get away from me! Let me out! I want out!
Ooh.
I want out of here now! Stay away from me!
She squeezed through the bars. Why would they shut out the skylight?
Give yourself up!
That seems kind of pointless. Hey there, buddy! And this is why I like the magazine clothing mod.
Elizabeth, where are you?
Because otherwise I would have had to reload about halfway through that encounter there. No, I didn't have to.
This is the moment we trained for. The false shepherd is here. The day was not exact, but the prophet's sight proves out again. The specimen must be taken alive. If she dies, I suspect they will give us to the bird, and whatever pieces it leaves behind will bear no names. That was cigarette number 6. This waiting is insufferable.
Huh. So not only are women included in the police force and army, but I guess they're also in the special operations. Surprisingly progressive.
Where is she?
Although there is a reason for that.
Great.
I'll just be getting to explaining what that reason is at a later point. Now, how about that infusion? Yeah, more salts.
Just what the doctor ordered.
Oh, actually, you know, I could probably just say it now. There are women in the army because Elizabeth is expected to take over. she is the shepherd. Or, sorry, she is the lamb. And so she is going to throw fire down on the people below.
As the months and years turned to memories, so did the men of Congress turn to righteousness. And through the technology of men, the dollars of Washington, the Lord worked his will upon Columbia and raised her high above the Sodom below.
So yeah, basically to get people to accept the idea of Elizabeth being in charge,
just stay where you are!
Comstock has allowed women to be in leadership positions.
Get away from me!
Hey, come back here!
And otherwise, you know, in positions that are equal to men. It's actually, very forward-thinking of him. For entirely selfish reasons, but still. Guess she didn't do any weightlifting up in that tower.
Kill those people. I can't believe you did that. They're all dead. You killed those people.
Elizabeth,
You're a monster.
what did you think was going to happen?
What?
Do you understand the expense people went through to keep you locked up in that tower? You think people like that are just going to let you walk away? You are an investment, and you will not be safe until you are far away from here.
What do they want from me?
I don't know. One thing I've learned. If you don't draw first, you don't get to draw at all.
You're bleeding. Come here. What happened back there? It's not the last of it, is it?
I don't know.
There. I suppose I best get used to it. I've read a thing or two about medicine. I'll do my best to keep you supplied with remedies. If your wounds are deeper, I'll try to keep you on this side of the abyss.
Or in other words, she is our recovery method, so long as she's around. So we won't be going back to the office beyond time and space. So just resurrect us herself. Using her, 40 years advanced emergency medical procedures. Also, for the record, the changes, if I had allowed the guy to make the first move, would have been actually fairly light. I mean, there would have been a wound on Booker's right hand, and she would have wrapped it in that previous conversation. But, otherwise she still disapproves because, you still murder a whole lot of people there. Ain't got a ways to go yet. Just gonna rob a few more trash cans and then on we go to Soldier's Field. Next time. So, did you happen to notice anything familiar about Dimwit and Duke there? Because they're a pretty obvious take on a more famous duo, and to discuss their history we will again be delving into History Corner. Goofus and Gallant. Goofus and Gallant is a long-running cartoon series from the children's magazine Highlights. Highlights actually began in 1946, and the first Goofus and Gallant cartoon ran in 1948. So this reference is more anachronistic than usual. The cartoons are essentially nothing more than what you saw in the video. First, Goofus screws up a chore or a societal more, and then Gallant does the thing properly. It's a pretty blatant way to teach kids how to properly behave, but then Highlights is aimed at children just old enough to read an article. And, that's about it. Say what you will about societal programming, but that's as deep as this rabbit hole goes. So, thanks for joining me again in History Corner, and I hope I'll... Okay, I'm just yanking your chain. Instead of Goofus and Gallant, let's talk about something that's closely related, and which was more or less directly referenced earlier in BioShock Infinite, the Boy Scouts of America. Starting the Scouts. Back at the turn of the last century, there were a few distinct trends that were slowly coming together. In the first place, more and more people were leaving the increasingly automated farming sector in order to find jobs in the rapidly multiplying factories of the cities. The population was growing less rural and more urban, and as a result, more kids were growing up in the cities without much exposure to nature. Comprehensive child labor laws wouldn't get passed until the Great Depression of the 1930s, but despite the best attempts of their employers, the labor movement was slowly increasing the size of the middle class, and that meant that their children had time to go to school and to do other things with their free time. At the same time, the environmentalist movement was starting to awaken. The idea of respecting and revering nature is at least as old as Henry David Thoreau and his book Walden. But then Thoreau was part of the Transcendentalist movement, which originated in the Second Great Awakening of the early 19th century, one in a series of periods when religion and spirituality was growing in popularity. Still, environmentalism as its own thing wouldn't take off until the second half of the 19th century. In 1864, Abraham Lincoln signed the order that made the Yosemite Mountains in California the first state park, and in 1872, Ulysses S. Grant made the Yellowstone region of Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho the first national park. Over 100 national parks would follow, mostly in the less populated West and Midwest, although it would take until the 20th century for the government to actually fund a park enforcement service to stop people from spoiling the wilderness. So with a growing respect for the wilderness, and a growing number of children with spare time, a fair number of youth organizations popped up to give kids something constructive to do with their time. A lot of these organizations focused on boys, since boys were generally more dangerous to leave alone, what with the whole male aggressiveness and the fact that they were actually allowed to go outside unsupervised. Idle hands and the devil and all that. Precursors to the Boy Scouts of America included the Woodcraft Indians and the Sons of Daniel Boone, along with religious organizations such as the Boys Brigade and the YMCA, the Young Men's Christian Association. The reason churches got involved is because they were worried about the decreasing moral standards of those damn kids, which is something old people have complained about since at least ancient Greece. The big innovation many of these groups were introducing was the concept of recreational camping. Since before this point, the only people who would willingly go out into the middle of nowhere and sleep under a canvas tent were either military units or Native Americans. As such, these youth organizations would borrow motifs from both groups, and eventually that would include the Boy Scouts themselves. Officially speaking, the Boy Scouts of America would be inspired by a similar organization in the United Kingdom, the Boy Scout Association, when newspaper mogul William D. Boyce was assisted by an unknown scout free of charge during a visit to England. He incorporated the BSA in 1910, and immediately a whole bunch of troops joined thanks to those precursor organizations I mentioned, as well as a number of actual Boy Scout troops which had been sponsored by the YMCA. Now, the BSA is actually a privately held corporation in a special category which is immune to antitrust laws, and so within a few years of formation they managed to merge with or muscle out most major competing scouting organizations, aside from the Girl Scouts of the USA, which is equivalent to the BSA and formed at the same time, but it is an entirely separate organization. Internationally, the scouting movement took off in 1907, which is the year the book Scouting for Boys by Robert Baden-Powell was published. Initially, it spread fastest through the British colonies in the United States, but as time passed, sister organizations spread into virtually every nation to one extent or another. Scouting has only been banned outright under the most authoritarian of regimes. For instance, Scouts were replaced by the Hitler Youth in Nazi Germany and by the Young Pioneers in the USSR. Notably, joining these youth organizations was less optional than it is with regular Scouts. The details of the Boy Scouts have changed as society has changed. Over the years, they've done such things as support the American war efforts, particularly during World Wars I and II. In the 1960s, they led the way for integration. Presently, they're dragging their feet regarding gay and genderqueer rights. In 1912, the BSA purchased Boy's Life from a scouting enthusiast and turned it into their official magazine, which it remains to this day. Norman Rockwell, the father of Americana artwork, drew covers for Boy's Life in 1913 and drew paintings for the BSA calendar from 1925 to 1975. In 1930, the BSA started the Cub Scouts for boys too young to go camping overnight. Originally, there were 57 merit badges, but today the number has grown to 137. Subjects include camping and hiking related activities, professions, hobbies, and community involvement. Still, throughout its entire 100-year history, the core of Scouting hasn't changed much at all. The Scout law, oath, and motto are just the same as they were when the BSA was founded. The organization is still based around camping, community, learning useful skills, and although they aren't picky about denomination, religion. Personal thoughts. When I think of camping, I think of two things. The first is the old trailer my family used to have for when we all went camping, usually at the lakeside property my great-grandmother used to own back when she was alive. She survived a remarkably long time, actually. Got into her 90s before she finally died. I also remember a camping trip we only did once, which took us west, and I got to see landmarks like Devil's Tower, Mount Rushmore, and Yellowstone National Park. But the other thing I think of is Boy Scouts. I remember earning merit badges at Mini Point up in northern Minnesota, and all the mosquitoes that swarmed my tent the year our troops' camping site was in a swamp. I remember crossing the Missouri River in a sailboat at the Lewis and Clark camping grounds, and also an ache in my legs, which was courtesy of hiking from one end of camp to the other 4 times a day because the camp was built on the side of a damn hill. We actually did the calculations, and I literally walked a vertical mile that week. I remember polar bear swims, which is where you sit in a sauna for a few minutes, then jump into freezing cold water, and then after a few minutes of that, you race back into the sauna. I remember freezing my ass off in winter camps, and spending the whole day wondering what it felt like to be warm. I remember standing on the bluffs of the upper Mississippi, and watch a fog roll past below and feeling like I was on top of the clouds. And considering we had to hike all the way up from the base of the bluff, I felt like I had earned that view. I remember making friends through Boy Scouts at a time when making friends was hard for me. I remember being exposed to Metallica for the first time on a camping trip and feeling amazed that such wonderful music could actually exist. I remember meeting a fellow Scout when I transferred colleges, and through him making the friends I would have throughout my stay. I remember how even though my father and I didn't go to church, nobody seemed to care. Because even though atheists and agnostics are officially barred from joining, individual troops have a lot of leeway when it comes to membership and activities, and since neither of us raised a stink about swearing to God and country in the oath, there was no problem. I was doing it every day at school with the Pledge of Allegiance, so what the hell was the big deal? I also remember taking communion for, I think, 2 times in my life, thanks to the Scouts. And I remember that, at least at the churches I visited, the host tasted like stale bread and sour wine. If Scouting had begun today, I think there's a good chance that it would be co-ed, rather than 2 separate organizations for 2 genders, and in some nations, that's how Scouting is. And while I'm definitely for gender equality, I think there's still something to be said for spending some time with just your own gender. It's a matter of shared experiences, kind of like a support group. The BSA has certain values they wish to impart upon our impressionable youth, but then, well, so does everyone. That's what school is for, and not just school, but children's television, young adult literature, mentors, and Big Brother programs. And on top of all that is everything about society we don't want them to know about, but they figure out anyway because they are curious little bastards like that. The life of every child, or rather the childhood of every person, is spent learning not only useful facts and skills, but also how to be an adult member of the society in which they live. Every child is indoctrinated to some extent, and if it's not by mainstream society, then it's by a counterculture. Sharing our mores and our memes is how we understand and live with each other. The BSA and GSUSA have their share of controversies, and there are a number of things I wouldn't mind changing about them. But I believe that overall, they are a positive influence on the world. And no matter how much society and all its various parts try to tell us what to do, every adult, all of you, are responsible for the choices you make. Like Goofus and Gallant, the BSA can offer its suggestions, but whether you follow them is up to you. Thanks for joining me again in History Corner, and I hope I'll see you soon.